petition in order to get on the ballot coming up in for the primary in March of 2016. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. I've been living here in Houston for the past 40 years. I love this city. I think this is the best city in the United States. I went to Sharpstown High School. I graduated back in 1984. I received my bachelor's degree from the University of Houston back in 1990, and I went to law school over at TSU. Yes, go Tigers, TSU Tigers, yes. And it's always been a dream of mine to become a judge one day. That's one of the reasons why I'm running, but the other reason, more importantly, that I'm running is because I feel like our criminal justice system right now is broken. And I also believe that we need more diversity in the courts here in Harris County. But again, I cannot do that by myself. I need the support of you guys in the community to make that happen. So that's why it's very important when we have these elections that people in the community go out and vote. As you can tell, if you don't vote, you don't have a voice.
Very true.
And that's basically what it amounts to. So, again, I really do appreciate you giving me the opportunity to speak to you today, and I appreciate your attention. And if you want to ask me a couple of questions, please go ahead.
Do you believe that criminal behavior is a part of a genetic predisposition?
No, I don't think it is. I don't think criminal behavior is something that you're born with. No, that's my own personal opinion. Now, again, I'm not a medical doctor, but if I had to answer that question right now, I would say no. I don't think a person is born a criminal. No.
What do you think influences?
I think it's the person's surroundings, the environment that they grow up in, the people that they're hanging out with. I think that influences their behavior. But again, I'm not a medical doctor. I'm an attorney, so if I had to, give my opinion about that would be my opinion.
When's the election going to be?
The primary is March the 1st. I'm not quite sure right now. If I have an opponent in the primary, I'll find that out once the filing deadline passes, which is December the 14th. So I'll find out if I have an opponent, somebody else who's running against me for that particular court. I'm running for the 177th Criminal District Court. I'm running as a Democrat. But I don't want you to vote for me because I'm a Democrat. I want you to vote for me because you believe that I can make a difference. Right. Go ahead.
So you tell me your name again?
Robert Johnson.
You have a private practice now?
I do. I specialize mostly in criminal defense work, but I also do some family law and some personal injury cases. I came out of Thurgood Marshall TSU back in 2001, so I have 12 years of experience as an attorney. And this is actually a second profession for me because before I went to law school, I worked for a trucking company in Roadway. So I'm probably not as young as I look, but yeah.
So when we have, one of the things that we definitely notice is when our black brothers are going to court for criminal cases, the judge himself may be predisposed to say that this person is already guilty. What is your take, your platform, your belief on black brothers coming to prison? Also, felons with the 3 strikes you're out. I don't know, right. But with the 3 strikes you're out, because also we got first-time offenders who are 15 years old getting 30 years. So what is your take on all of those things?
Okay, well let me take that question one segment at a time. What a lot of people don't know and realize is that a lot of the judges that are down in Harris County in those criminal courts were former DAs.
Right.
So how can someone who was a former DA all of a sudden become a judge the next day and claim that they're fair and impartial? It's just not going to happen. So that's why it's important that when we have a candidate in our community, a candidate who is qualified to run for a judgeship, we have to support that person. That's the only way we're going to bring about change and diversity. And that's very important because if we have somebody who's sitting in that position from our community, they will have a totally different outlook on the case than somebody else. And what I can't promise you guys, if I'm lucky enough to get elected, I will be fair and impartial, and somebody who is charged with a criminal offense and that case winds up landing in my courtroom, that person will receive a fair trial. But at the same time, I'm going to say this too, if the evidence does show you're guilty, then...
Yeah, you could be guilty, but at 15 years old for a first time,
No.
or nonviolent crime,
Right.
and you get 30 years, that's happening all over the place, and that's happening in Harris County too.
Right, well, I was kind of talking about somebody who has a criminal history and a rap sheet, and this person, winds up getting in trouble again, but somebody who has no criminal history, and this is their first encounter with the law, then yes, I think we need to look at some type of rehabilitation program or some other type of program in order to get that person back on the straight and narrow. And then at the same time, we don't want that person to wind up with the final conviction because we know something like that will haunt them and follow them for the rest of their lives. And it will also disqualify them from getting into certain occupations such as a school teacher, because you need a license in order to become a school teacher, a certified public accountant. So when you wind up with a felony conviction, the way this country is set up, unfortunately, even after you serve your time, that particular offense continues to haunt you for the rest of you. Can't get a job, you can't get an apartment, you can't even participate on jury service. It's just incredible from that one experience. And this is something that may have transpired, like you said, when you were 17, 18 years old, and now here you are 40 years old. You're a completely different person. Your life's turned around, you're married, you have kids, but yet and still, that activity that you engaged in when you were young is still causing you problems today. And I think that's unfair. So if a young person happens to get in trouble and that person winds up in my courtroom, I'm going to do everything in my power as a judge to try to give that person another chance. Yes, sir.
How do you feel about this Proposition 1, that you about the bathroom situation?
Okay, as far as that situation is concerned, I think girls need to. I think girls should be using girls' bathrooms and boys should be using boys' bathrooms. That's my position on that.
Amen.
Because I know I would kind of be in shock if a female walked into the male's restroom, and I'm quite sure the ladies feel the same way too. It doesn't matter what happened after the fact.
Okay, now, if she's talking about a 15-year-old kid go commit a crime, see, I've been a big believer even before I had kids, that if I make a baby with a monkey, I'm going to stay there and raise that child. Because a lot of times they find the kids that get in trouble, most of them incarcerated in prison, didn't have a dad at home raising them. So if both parents should raise that child right in the first place, they probably not. I have a 17-year-old. He don't sag, he don't smoke weed, he do have a girlfriend, he have one, not 4 or 5. So parents stay at home raise them. And then another thing, if they do not put God in their life, if they don't teach them that Bible, they're gonna come up and they're gonna probably more than likely go to an early grade or go to prison. As far as the people saying that having a criminal record forever, I just mentioned earlier, I have some information to show people how to clear the criminal record so we won't have that problem.
Well, that's very true. And let me talk about that briefly, because I don't want to just take over the whole event today, but there's 2 ways in Texas to clear your record. One of them is an expunction. The other one is called a petition for non-disclosure. Both of those you have to qualify for. With the expunction, the only way you qualify for that is that you either have to be pardoned by the governor of the state of Texas, or you have to take your case to trial and the jury finds that you're not guilty, or the district attorney has to dismiss your case. So if either one of those 3 things happen, then you qualify for what's called an expunction. And also too, with an expunction, it's a civil proceeding. It has to be filed over in civil court. And so a civil judge will sign off on that order if it is granted. And the beauty behind an expunction is that your criminal case will be destroyed. Any information in the computer system dealing with that case will be taken out. Basically, your record will be wiped clean. But as far as the petition for non-disclosure, you qualify for that if you were placed on what's called deferred adjudication probation. It's a special type of probation. It's not like straight probation. It's called deferred adjudication probation. And if you successfully complete your probation, then you can go back to that same judge in that same courtroom and file what's called a petition for non-disclosure, and the judge will seal that case. And the beauty behind that is that if you happen to go out into the workforce and they do a criminal background check on you, it won't come up. But it's not as good as the expunction because the information is still there, but the general public doesn't have access to it. I don't know if I explained that well enough where you understand the difference between the two. So obviously the expunction is the best route to go if you qualify for it. But the next best thing is the expunction, because then when somebody does a criminal background check on you, meaning the general public, they can't get access to it, okay? But that doesn't apply to everyone because there's certain agencies even outside of law enforcement, who can still get access to it, such as school boards, nursing board, the board of law examiners. Those particular places can still get access to it. Okay?
Thank you very much for coming over here today.
Okay. Well,
But what you just said have really, I bet you, half the people in here confused because they're not going to understand that. This particular book that I'm speaking of breaks it down in plain, simple language that all of us can understand. Because most attorneys I found out, they don't want you to know that you can clear your criminal record regardless of the crime. That's, to me, it's sort of a bad side because there are people, if they committed a crime against me, I'll be very ticked off and never want to clear their record. But it is what it is. When you go to prison,
well, I'm sorry to interrupt you, sir, but my understanding is that once you wind up with a final criminal conviction,
right,
that conviction stays on your record forever, and there's no way that you can get it removed.
yes, sir, it is. I'm
Okay.
sorry. I'm glad to say that I'm glad that it is a way to do this, because if you go before a judge and he convicted you for stealing a car, he tell you give you 10 years, you go do 7 years. You got good time and work time. They take that back. You come back and you're on parole. Actually, that means they have slaved you because they haven't paid you for the work you did when you was in prison. The judge didn't say you don't work. He said you don't know your time. Now, you got that, so you paid your debt to society. So therefore, regardless of whatever crime that it is that you committed, you should really be a free man. But most lawyers will try to teach you that you cannot clear your criminal record if you plead guilty. And even if they did decide to clear your criminal record, they're going to charge you $20,000 and upward. My book is going to be less than $300. So this is something that I feel that even no matter what crime you committed, a lot of people commit a crime when they're young. Then when they get older, they're not that person anymore. So, pardon? Yes, it is book. So to me, less than $300, $200, $100. I don't care if it was $1,000. There are people right now, if you paid that $1,000 for that book, and then you decide, hey, you know what, I cleared my criminal record, guess who you can get a job with? Metro, which is a good paying job. That's just one of them. So to me, clearing your criminal record means this. If you never go to get a job, and the police pull you over, and they said, Mr. Johnson, have you ever been convicted of a felony? No, sir, I haven't. He's not going to find you. And that's the juicy part. So when you get in court, now they were trying to pull up your record, they don't have it. It's gone. And like you were saying earlier, the best way is to get rid of the token. And that's what this book teaches you to do, that you can do it yourself. Now, people buy the book and then collect us, that's on them. But you got to clear your criminal record.
Okay, well, again, I'm going to just piggyback on what the gentleman just finished saying. I agree, if you can clear